Hello there, I'm Christine Bentley in studio with Kate Wheeler, and joining us now is a Canadian fashion icon, Linda Lundström. Welcome, Linda. How are you?
Hi!
You made it through.
I made it.
You're ready for the Arctic.
Well, it's real parka weather out there, I'll tell you. Beautiful snowfall, but nasty to drive in.
Yeah, nasty to drive in, but it's Canada.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, you have a new venture that you're involved in, involving the Christian Children's Fund of Canada. So, tell us about this.
Well, such an honor. Actually, I was really blown away when they asked me if I would be their honorary patron. And so, kind of caught me by surprise. I had to think about it for a while because, I think there are so many wonderful causes and you just don't know, about all of them. And I get asked a lot, and I've always tried to respond to requests for donations for silent auctions and fundraisers and everything. But to be the honorary patron of this organization was really something I had to think about. And when I found out what the work is that they do, it really convinced me because, as somebody who's approached a lot, and I'm sure a lot of corporations and people are asked to give to wonderful causes, and you wonder, well, where's the money going and what is it doing? And what I learned about this organization is that they make a big difference to a few people. They affect a lot of people, over 500,000, but their whole approach is, let's go into a village and let's put everything that they need in there, the infrastructure, the education, healthcare, water and sewage, things that we just take for granted. They focus on a whole community and make that community an example of what's possible. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. So that it really is impacting and it's sustainable over time. And that was what really got me.
So it's called the Campaign to 1 Million for Child Protection.
That's right.
Correct? So they're trying to raise specifically $1 million?
Yes, which I don't think is a lot of money.
Not these days.
No, not at all. And you see, the thing is that it doesn't cost a lot to make significant differences in people's lives. And this $1 million is going towards things like making sure that all children that are born have birth certificates. Now, this is not something that I even realized was an issue, but if you're born and you don't have a birth certificate, then you don't exist. So you become susceptible to all kinds of child
exploitation.
Exploitation and human trafficking and all kinds of things. And if, for example, if there's no girls' washroom facilities at a school, it can actually be a reason why young women won't go to school. Yeah. For a simple thing like that, just having their own, again, because it's dangerous. And so getting them to come to school by putting in a simple facility like that is the work that these people do. So I love the practicality of it. It's like they're right on the ground, they're doing things that are practical, and 85% of the money goes directly to the people who they're helping, and they have a very lean, mean organizational structure.
Well, that's good that you know that, because that's one of the questions I always ask, is like how much money is going to run the organization. Because even charities with the best of intentions, you start seeing that, 25% is going to running the organization. You think, really? But this is 15% and under.
Well, that was one of the questions that I asked, because, I mean, the charity business is a bit of a minefield, and there are lots of worthy ones and wonderfully run ones. And then, we've all heard about, but anyway, let's not talk about that, because what I really want to talk about is how fabulous it feels for me. You see, I'm wearing my little Santa hat.
Yes, you are.
But because being in this role is the gift that I've given to myself, and I think that ultimately when we give, it's actually a gift, a personal gift to ourselves. Because with each gesture of giving time, money, or whatever, I feel better.
Yeah.
It helps me. It's like a gift I give myself. And so that's kind of going to be my slogan in this role is you know, it's the gift you give yourself by helping others, and it benefits the giver and the recipients.
And and the giver more than the recipient in many instances.
In many instances, because we've all got our thing, you know, we've all got that wound. You know, 1 in 4 women have been sexually assaulted in this country. Whether it's that or whether it's some deep tragedy, hurt, disappointment, or whatever, we're all carrying stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to heal yourself is by giving to others, and it's a healing gift. You know what I'm talking about,
Yes,
Christine?
I do. But you've been quoted as saying that this is close to your heart because of your childhood and where you were raised, that this protection of children is kind of a soft, you know, a sensitive
It's
issue.
a soft spot for me because I had a wonderful childhood. And we weren't rich, we were poor, but we had everything we needed because we lived in the bush and we hunted and fished and everything like that. But the area where I lived, Cochenour, Ontario, which is in the Red Lake area of northwestern Ontario, is the home of Indigenous people whose ancestors have lived there for, you know, thousands of years. And yet they were the people that were the most discriminated against, injustices perpetrated against them. And poverty, like grinding poverty. And I remember witnessing that growing up and wanting, you know, in my life to deal with some shame and guilt I had around that, because when you live in a community like that, you become part of the problem by, you know, laughing at jokes that are made at somebody's expense and maybe not speaking out in somebody's defense when they're being discriminated against, and all those things I experienced as a child kind of came back to haunt me as an adult when I had my own children. And so as a result, I've created my own fund up in the Red Lake area to bring awareness of First Nations culture in the classrooms in the communities. So when I was approached by the Christian Children's Fund and I realized that their work is all you know, outside of Canada, I thought to myself, well, is there any limit to what I can do? Maybe I can still continue to, you know, keep awareness of First Nations culture top of mind in the classrooms in the community in my hometown of Red Lake, and I can also be somebody who can be a catalyst for this wonderful organization to help in their important work outside the country.
Well, you seem to have taken this to heart, and you're very, very passionate about it. So what would you say? It's Christmas time. People are in a giving mood. What would you say to people out there?
Well, I believe everything is a gift. And I believe that everything that's happened to us, whether it's, you know, I mean, I don't think anybody goes through life unscathed. And that's the journey, isn't it? That's why we're put on this earth, is to experience stuff. And I'd like to leave everybody with the thought that the best way for your journey to include your own personal healing is to give. And the Christian Children's Fund of Canada is a wonderful organization. I'm proud to be associated with it.
Well, I actually have sponsored 2 kids from the time I was 20 years old.
Wow.
So I've been involved in a very passive role. I mean, I haven't done much. It's just...
And that's a very important cornerstone of the organization, is to the ability to adopt a child, and then every month you put something towards that child, and that's a really important thing. But there's another part of what they do, which is to have donors who make, you know, lump sum donations that are directed towards a entire village.
Exactly.
And the infrastructure that is needed for that entire village to be viable.
Yes. Well, my sponsoring of these two children is just my saying thank you to God for
Yeah.
having two children of my own who are healthy.
It's lovely. It's
And
wonderful.
that never went to bed hungry. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's not really anything significant, but
Oh, it is significant. It is significant. And as you said, you benefit from it, right?
oh, it takes the guilt away, as you talked about. You
Yeah.
feel guilty when you're blessed.
Linda, how can people connect with either one of the charities you work with, one in Red Lake and as well with the Christian Children's Fund?
Well, the charity in Red Lake does not, I don't request donations for it. It's
Okay.
something that I fund through my public speaking engagements. But the Christian Children's Fund is, they have a wonderful website.
Mhm.
It's the Christian Children's Fund of Canada. You can reach them on all the social media platforms at CCFC
Mm-hmm.
Canada, and reach them online, and they'll be happy to show you how to be involved. And I say to them, use me. You know, I'm
Yeah,
here. Use
absolutely.
me. So if you want them to use you, then get in touch.
And it's called the Campaign to 1 Million for
Yes.
Child Protection.
Yes.
Around the world.
Yeah.
They work in, they have over 50,000 children sponsored, as you sponsor, and we sponsor 2 children as well for much the same reason. I started sponsoring when my children were born.
Yes,
Like
so
one
did
for each
I.
of them.
Yeah.
So did I.
That was the one there, and as well. So Campaign to 1 Million has a goal of raising $1 million to bring about transformational change for children and their families around the world. And thank you very much, Honorary Patron Linda Lundström, for
Thank
coming
you.
and telling us.
Thanks so much. Great to see you.